everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And for today's episode, we will be talking about preparation and planning, research, whatever you want to call it. Point is, before you jump into your next project, make sure that you have a game plan. You don't want to just jump in head first without having a good idea of what it is that you want to accomplish. What you have here on the screen is the Titan's Return Blitzwing. This is the Takara version that has the animation colors. So this is gonna be my next project. It's probably not gonna be, it's not gonna be as extensive as my last one, the Optimus Primes, the Studio Series 38 Primes, that had full recolors and all that. I'm just gonna go in on this one and just add some details, here and there. So what I do before starting a project is, just look at different sources, get some ideas, work up, like a visual guide for what it is that you want to do on your project. In this case, it's a transformer. So there are, comics, movies, TV, you name it. Pretty much any media we have available to get some ideas, right? So on this one, when I was looking at it, see what it is that I would want to do on it, I noticed that it has mostly like 90% pins. It's got pins like these flat head pins that I mentioned in the previous episode. If you have a soldering iron, if you apply heat to the pin, it's going to soften the plastic around the pin, which will then allow you to pop the pin out. But this entire figure is made up of pins, so even if I didn't want to fully disassemble it, it would still take a lot of time to take parts apart. If the shoulder was attached using a screw, I might have detached that way. But since it's all mostly pins, I'm gonna customize the figure, leaving it intact, and just work around the areas that I wanna go in. So for instance, here on this joint here, that's for the on the elbow part, you'll notice that there are these beige parts, these cream colors, and then there's this gray color. All right. So when I was originally when I was originally looking at the figure, I was thinking, okay, so some of the easiest parts that we can go in, especially on Transformers, to go in and add, a lot of extra paint, are parts where there are joints, right? Shoulders, elbows, knees, hips, right? Even the neck, although this one, well, I mean, it does have a neck, but this is a headmaster, so there's no ball joint on it. The head from the headmaster attaches to the shoulder part. So, but yeah, those are easy spots to go in, and maybe with like a gunmetal color, you can accent those parts. But on this particular figure right here, if I were to attack this area, I probably only want to paint the inside portion and leave the outside area that it's making contact with this part of the bicep, because otherwise there's gonna be, I mean, the paint is gonna rub off right here. As soon as I bend the elbow on it, all of that paint that I would have applied there is gonna flake off. So I know even if I were to tear it down, you know, take the pin out and work on it, you know, the part individually, it's probably not going to be worth it. I would have to sand down the plastic, right? Uh, you know, remove enough plastic so that it would compensate for the tolerance, you know, that the figure already has, right? So that once I apply the paint and the protective clear, it would have to match the exact tolerance that there's already that already exists on the figure. Because otherwise, if I sand down too much and I don't, you know, with the layer of the paint and the clear and all of that, if it doesn't match what is already there on the figure, this part is going to be loose, right? And although the paint might be protected and it wouldn't come off, the figure would be really loose. If I were to sand too much, then I would have to do that on both sides, right? So there's just too much work. And also there's danger that once I remove the pin, if I remove the pin, but once I apply heat and rip out the pin, though there's a chance that the plastic around the pin won't be the same, you know, tolerance as it was before, right? So again, that will add to the looseness of the figure. So that's just a risk I don't want to take. So I'm probably just gonna paint with the figure intact and just go in spots where I know it won't affect it won't, I'm sorry, where the paint won't be, you know, flaking off or rubbing and making contact with other spots that you know, that way all of the work that I would put into the figure isn't go to waste. You know, I thought about, you know, painting the hip joint here, but no, again, there's enough space, right, where there probably won't be any rubbing, although this part right here may rub, so I may just paint this area right here. This area does remove with a screw, so that's something that I may look into to get better access to that this hip joint. You know, the back of the leg right here, those look like you know, struts, so those are good spots to paint. Uh, the jet thruster, it's painted in a metallic purple, which is cool, but I may paint in a gunmetal color. I don't know. It's there we go. I don't know if I might paint this. But yeah, you know, always, you know, all of these parts right here that are on the inside part of the tank treads, you know, all of this detail that's hidden inside, behind the parts that you probably won't see when it's in tank mode, but in robot mode, all of this is exposed, right? So you can take advantage of that. The knuckles, right? The knuckles on the figure. Those are good spots to paint on practically almost every transformer. You know, they're gonna have like the fist and have some knuckles out there exposed, so those are pretty easy spots to start off with. When you're customizing, start off painting the knuckles. If you can if you can paint all of these little spots, you know, you're pretty good at you know, you can pretty much do anything else on the figure. So yeah, the shoulder joints here, there's some spots here that I may paint on the inside. These are good spots to use the Tamiya paint because, like I had mentioned before, Tamiya adheres very well to the plastic on its own. So even if there's like minimal rubbing, uh, having both spots painted with the same color may not even look. It may not even even if something wears off here, it's gonna be covered, right? Spots that probably won't be seeing too much. I don't know. Just I'm just going around the figure and pointing out areas that might be good spots to paint. These vents here on the hips, right here in the crotchal area. Spots here on the side of the figure. So yeah, right, like I mentioned, right here, even on the neck, on the chest portion, right here, these details. The insides of the wings, there are some spots, that you might want to go in. So, I mean, this figure has a lot of potential for even here on the forearms, these spots right there. So that's why I wanted to start on this figure because of the potential that it has. Even though it's not gonna be a full repaint, as mentioned before, there are still areas that's gonna help bring out a lot of character in the figure. Um, the hips and the thighs, I don't know if I'm gonna paint. Um, I mean, it's a light colored gray, which is spot on to the animation, right? Which is what this color scheme is referencing, the G1 cartoon. But if I'm gonna add a lot of detail, then it's no longer gonna be like the G1 cartoon, right? So this is something that I may decide later on if I'm gonna paint like a silver color, because again, those are colors that in animation they couldn't really uh, do, right, in 2D. So, well, obviously this is referencing a silver of some kind. Um, Same here on these spots around the metallic purple. So, I mean, it had the Decepticon symbol has silver around, right, the contour of the logo. So even adding a silver will complement that. Um, so it's again just going over the figure will give you the ideas of what it is that you want to you know do with it, right? So again, always do some research ahead of time just to get yourself in the right mindset of, okay, I think this is what I want, right? So once you have what it is that you have in mind, then you can then work on getting the materials that you need. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I'm gonna need to mix colors. um, if I were to decide to paint, for instance, the knee in this metallic purple. I don't think I have metallic purple, but I can mix a silver with either a violet or a purple, depending on how it comes out. And mix my own paints instead of just going out and buying a metallic purple that may or may not match. And it's just I'm buying a bottle of paint for a couple of spots, so it's not really worth it. So it's a better, you know, investment not to spend money on a new paint bottle if I can get the color myself with what I already have. But if you don't, if you don't have a silver, then you if you want to paint something gunmetal or whatnot, just then you're gonna have to go and get it. You're gonna have to need the right brush and all of that, the right detailed brushes to in order to get in those small areas, right? So again, if you don't have one already. So again, it's always important to do research, right? Look at other customizers, look at them for inspiration of what they've done. Look at other figures that are already out in the market, right? See what those figures have that you like on them, that you would like to do on your own project, and go from there. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.